taken what we have read. Interpretation of it was a Bible story. Some people could say it was a manifesto. Depends on how you look at it and where you're looking at it from. Actions have consequences. We need to look at this, we need to vote on this, and I am in favor of the motion.
Senator Wallace has spoken in favor of the motion. Anyone want to speak against the motion? Senator Hammer, you've indicated you want to speak for the motion. You're ready now, sir.
On the subject of how important is this, it's important enough for you to be here. I remember back during the special session, we always kind of lived on needles waiting for the session to be called, and I remember when the special session got called, a lot of people had to change their plans because they were anticipating it. I can't think of going through a process like this if I'm the one that started it, that we're all having to deal with, but the person that started it isn't here himself, that I wouldn't think in the back of my mind, you know what, I need to make sure that everything I've got on the table is expendable, because if my reputation is on the line, if I'm going to be called into question, if my family's name is going to be associated with my actions, I don't want it to be because I think, well, maybe I need a lawyer here, maybe I need to do this. It's like the world stops for me to be here to answer for my actions. Well, that's the way I feel. Whether you feel that way or whether Senator Clark feels that way, I can't say. But it's important enough that you are here. It's important enough, and I'm not sure that everybody in this chamber above or below are his constituents, but it's important enough for some of his constituents to be here. And it's also of issue to those that may not be here, that his actions are going to have a direct ability to take care of all of his constituents. If my 87,000 constituents were dependent upon me being here or not being here, I'd be here. I'd be here. My family may not like it. I should have explained to my family why I'm doing what I'm doing in that process. It's important enough for us all to be here. I also want to remind you how important the decision that we're about to make is. In testimony, it was stated that 32 to 33 of us are subject to go through the very same thing. I want you to soak that in for a minute. How important is it? Very important. A statement was made that 32 to 33 of us are already in the process of getting the same way. How important is it for us to set the bar and to say, look, if something's going to be done from a frivolous nature, if something is going to be done from a serious nature, we need to kind of set what we want the expectations to be. Spurious is defined as not being what it purports to be, false or fake. Frivolous is having no sound basis, as in fact or law. That's been established. Those two things have been established. Ethics Committee weighed the seriousness of bringing an ethics violation against another senator and using the committee process. The question you need to consider in deciding to vote for or against it says, have we been used? Has the institution of the Senate been used? And for what purpose and what reason, and to whose advantage, and what cause is being advanced because we've been used? Interlanguage to ethics rule says the holding of public office is a public trust created by the confidence which the electorate places in the integrity of the senators who serve in the Arkansas Senate. Members of the Senate are expected to carry out the duties in a manner that brings honor and integrity to the body, and when they don't, guess what? You have to stand before the body and give an account. But if you you choose not to stand before the body, guess what? Unless you're laying in a funeral home somewhere, it's your responsibility to be here. Do you feel it was your responsibility to be here? Do these people in the gallery feel it was their responsibility to be here? Do the 87,000 constituents feel it's the duty to be here? Mine do. My family even feels it's my duty to be here. Committee felt Senator Clark's action in targeting Senator Flowers is an abuse of ethics rule. 7 bipartisan members, several, which if they're not staunch friends, are at least colleagues that respect each other, regardless of the party line. The committee felt it couldn't stand by and allow this process to be used for retaliatory means. What is it that got us to a superiors? What is it that got us to a frivolous? It began with the retaliatory nature. You can even read the words yourself. The committee felt the comments and the actions of Senator Clark, including bringing these ethic petitions for the purpose of retaliation, were bringing dishonor and disruption to the institution of the Senate. The committee also felt a moral obligation not to allow Senator Clark to, quote, burn the house down. Finding a petition spurious and frivolous was included in the ethics rules for a reason. This rises today to that level for the reason why. This is not an ethics complaint. This is accountability in action. The committee recommended imposing serious penalties to demonstrate how very serious Senator Clark's words, actions, and transgressions of our code of ethics is. And may I remind you, this was a unanimous, bipartisan decision with no dissension among the members of the committee. And this is the second time in this body's history that we've been sitting in this General Assembly that we've had to do this. And I guess the one thing that drives it home more than anything else in my mind, because I gotta be honest with you, it's a struggle. When friends have to sit and hold friends and make determinations, if it isn't a struggle, you're one calloused individual. We ought to have to go through a painful process. We ought to have to expose ourselves to the challenges of the discussion that's going on here today, so that for whatever conclusion we reach, we've reached it in a thorough manner. But I guess the one thing that just rings in my head I can't get out of is that I would bring accusation and charges against a fellow senator, knowing that there's 32 to 33 that are sitting out there that possibly may be made on who knows what basis. And then to sit and absolve the senator that I brought the charges against as if, oh well, I was wrong. I had no merit for it. I even agree with the conclusions. I can't get my mind around that one. That's why I'm going to vote this motion.
Senator Hammer has spoken for the motion. Anyone else want to speak against? Anybody else want to speak for? Okay. Madam Director, I'm about to ask you to call the roll. I want to make sure that all the members understand the motion. So do you have that in front of you, Senator Dismay? If you don't mind, I want you to state that motion one more time, because we've been around back and forth. So let's do that, and then we're going to have a roll call. Members, if you would, please listen to the motion closely.
Members, and I think clarity needs to be that the motion for immediate consideration is withdrawn. I think it was alluded to that we were moving for immediate consideration. That's not the case. This is the actual motion. I move that the Senate find that Senator Alan Clark has violated the Senate's Code of Ethics, specifically Senate Rule 2413, by filing a spurious, frivolous, and retaliatory ethics petition against Senator Stephanie Flowers.
Okay, thank you for repeating that. Okay, motion. Members, I ask that every one of you take your seats. And we'll read this so there's no confusion. The pairing vote shall not be recognized. Each senator present shall verbally respond when. It's very important with the when. His or her name is called by voting with one of the following responses: yea, nay, present, or abstain. Madam Director Garrity, would you please call the roll?
Question? That's all right, never mind.
Thank you, Senator Teague.
Ballinger.
No. Nay.
Ballinger votes nay. Beckham. Beckham votes nay. Bledsoe. Bledsoe votes yea. Call rolls on leave. Chesterfield. Chesterfield votes yea. Clark. Clark. Davis. Davis votes yea. Dismayne.
Yay.
Dismayne votes yea. Elliott. Elliott votes yea. English. English votes yea. Flippo. Flippo votes yea. Flowers. Flowers votes yea. Fulfer.
Yay.
Fulfer votes yea. Garner.
No.
Garner votes no. Gilmore.
Yay.
Gilmore votes yea. Hammer.
Yay.
Hammer votes yea. Hendren.
Yay.
Hendren votes yea. Hester.
Yay.
Hester votes yea. Hickey.
Yay.
Hickey votes yea. Hill.
Yay.
Hill votes yea. Ingram.
Yay.
Ingram votes yea. Urban. Urban votes yea. Blake Johnson.
Yay.
Blake Johnson votes yea. Mark Johnson.
No.
Mark Johnson votes no. Lenny.
Yay.
Lenny votes yea. Fitch.
Yay.
Fitch votes yea. Rippert is on leave. Rice. Rice votes yea. Sample.
Yay.
Sample votes yea. Stubblefield is on leave. Sturgis is on leave. Sullivan.
Yay.
Sullivan votes yea. Teeth.
You
Teeth.
say T?
Teeth.
Yay.
Teeth votes yea. Tucker.
Yay.
Tucker votes yea. Wallace.
Yay.
Wallace votes yea.
Okay, members, by a vote of 26 yeas, 4 nays, and 1 abstention, that motion carries and is adopted. At this time, I'm going to